I've been looking for someone that's gonna hold a king down. I've been looking for someone that's gonna hold a king crown. I've been looking for somebody that would make me feel complete. I've been looking all my life, I wonder where could she be. I've been looking for someone that's gonna hold a king down. I've been looking for someone that's gonna hold a king crown. I've been looking for somebody that would make me feel complete. I've been looking all my life, I wonder where could she be. It's alright, baby, it's okay. I'm gonna love you anyway. When the sun turns blue, when the sky turns gray, my love is gonna be here to stay. I've been looking for someone that's gonna hold a king down. I've been looking for someone that's gonna hold a king crown. I've been looking for somebody that would.
Welcome to the kingdom. This is King to Queen Talk, where we provide the black, grown, and unfiltered perspective on life, love, and everything in between. I'm Tony G.
I'm LoLo. Korinne.
Championship hat TJ.
And we are King to Queen Talk. All right, as you can see, we're doing something a little differently today. We're on Skype as we're trying to do our social distancing. And so, as you know, we've been dealing with this coronavirus. And, you know, how are y'all feeling on this day? Like, with all that's going on in the world of corona. What you feeling like, Lo?
I'm feeling good. I mean, I'm essential, so I'm still working. Only my off day, still quarantined. But I'm a person who needs their private time, so I don't mind being alone. I'm good.
I feel you with that. I don't mind being alone either. Korinne? Come on now. Come on.
I was saying
No inside jokes. Let's go. Come on.
So during the quarantine, I've been chilling, playing board games, twerking to Jimi Hendrix, drinking my wine, and, you know, getting a little quarantine bay action.
Oh.
Hey, man.
Oh.
Well,
All right.
We see you out there.
So lucky.
Mr. TJ, what we looking like?
Hey, I'm chilling. Like Lo said, I'm essential, so I'm still working every day. Same life every day. You know, I be chilling.
Well, on that same note, we do want to acknowledge all of the essential workers out there that are really putting their lives on the line, whether it be nurses, doctors, whether it be Walmart employees, grocery store employees, police officers.
They legit. I need them. They legit.
I agree.
Walmart, need them.
And I mean, now I think we're at the point where they're requiring customers and employees to wear the mask. Are y'all masking up when y'all go out, or y'all still?
Definitely. I'm wearing masks, gloves, all that. Even got my mask right here.
Yeah, I got my mask somewhere, but Lo and TJ said they ain't got there quite yet.
Absolutely not. I'm essential. I still got to go to work, and ain't no mask at work.
Oh, so they don't require y'all to wear masks at work?
No.
They don't require it. As of when the last time I was at work, which was a couple days ago, they weren't requiring it. It was one of those things where you can if you feel it necessary. But I don't know if you saw that email. I saw an email that said that we about to be in there, but it's still optional. You know, they're not forcing you to.
Well, you know, the governor passed like a mandate where we're all supposed to wear masks, and employers are actually obligated to either provide masks or reimburse you for buying a mask.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
they're
gonna be waiting on no
supplying them.
reimbursement. They can supply it, or I ain't wearing it.
Yeah, they're gonna supply them, but again, within the building, they're not. It's not a mandate as of right now. So that's by the time I go back to work.
That would be so stupid for us to be required to wear masks, though.
And I think that because of what we do, or what we have to do sometimes on the phones and stuff, that it's not a mandate because you wouldn't be able to hear me if I had to talk to you through a message. So,
yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, is your health not more important than a muffled sound?
Vitamin, green
It's
tea,
the difference between a
ACV,
muffled sound and you
lemon
can't
and
hear
honey.
me. Can't hear you. Understand? I have to be able. So in my job, I have to be able to communicate effectively for me to understand what you need and for me to tell you what it is I'm telling you. So if I can't do that through a mask, then I'm not going to do that through a mask, because at the end of the day, if it's that deep, just say, I don't understand. But I like my job, so don't send me home.
Yeah, and for me, it's green tea, ACV, honey, lemon, every day, vitamins. I'm good.
You see, okay.
Oh, that stops you from getting a virus.
You said what?
Who, Lo?
I didn't hear what you said.
I didn't hear her either. What you say, Lo?
I said nothing.
Oh,
hey,
Lord.
G, how you doing in this quarantine, brother?
Yeah, how you doing, bro?
I'm just trying to make it. Just trying to make it. That's it. Just out here trying to make it. I also am considered essential, and I mask up because nobody got time for all that.
We hear you.
So, as we always do, all these laughters, y'all must miss me. As we always do.
You just funny.
That's my earring.
We want to go for the recap with Lo and find out, what's been going on our Instagram and Facebook pages. So you want to go ahead and read the question, Lo?
All right. So first one we got is, due to the current coronavirus pandemic, lawmakers plan to give a stimulus package of $1,000 plus to all Americans. Unfortunately, if you are behind on child support payments, your check will automatically be forwarded to the other parent who has full custody. Do you agree or disagree, and why? So in the comments, y'all let us know how y'all were feeling. And we got one comment from Facebook from Devon. And it says, I disagree. So they will take it if you're behind on child support, but not if you're behind on student loans or owe taxes. Wow, this is sad. Someone commented under there, yeah, the stipulations are interesting. And he said, true, but, child support runs the world. Wouldn't know nothing about that, brother. And then we have, let's get that one. We have The Perfect Pain says, absolutely. Listen, if you're an active parent and behind on child support, you should be straight. You don't need that little money from the government. I understand some active non-custodial parents may have hit a hard spot, lost their job, and fell behind. However, in that situation, the financial responsibility falls completely on the custodial parent. As a custodial parent, you don't get to make excuses. You have to keep a roof over those kids' heads, feed them, dress them, and make sure they have health insurance, etc. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Sorry, not sorry.
All right, so let's go to the parents first. Korinne, what do you think about that? This stimulus package and child support, reversing your stimulus package to the other parent.
I think whether male or female, if you decide to lay down with each other and make a child, it is equally both of you all's responsibility to handle the child's financial well-being and everything else that's involved. So if you're not doing that and you have one parent that's doing everything, if there's any money that can be given to that child's household, then it needs to be given to them. Because if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing financially, then I think that they should take it and give it to whoever is responsible financially for the child.
All right, that's fair. What you think, TJ?
I'm on the fence. I think it can go both ways. You have some jobs that you are put on child support, and your job takes money out your check for your child support, and your job, you may think your job is taking out the correct amount, but your job is actually not taking. They're taking out, let's say, $5 less every check for the amount that you're supposed to be paying, and now you feel like you're paying your child support on time, and you're just coming out your check, so you got to be paying it on time, and you find out that you're 10 years behind. You know, when the child turns 18, and now you're not getting no check because you've been paying child support this whole time, but your job was taking out $5 less. So now you owe $8,000, $10,000, and you've been paying child support the whole time. So it can go both ways, And even on top of child support, some people are on child support just because they have bitter baby mamas or bitter baby daddies, and they are still taking care of the child, but they still on child support, and their check is going to go to the custodial parent, even though they're taking care of that child.
So you're saying there, as you say, like it could go either way. There's a lot of situations that really toe the line.
Yeah.
Because my question is, who is determining who is like the bad parent or the irresponsible parent?
The government, based on a lot of numbers that they don't see. Right. If you're not tracking every single thing you do for your child, the government will act like you're not doing nothing. You know what I mean? If you don't track, your gas mileage that you got to go pick up the child, or you don't track every time you pay for the child to eat, or you don't track every time you buy the child food, clothes, the bills you have to pay to keep the child in the house when you keep them. The government doesn't, if you're not tracking it. If you can't prove that you did that, and this is just speaking as a father and knowing fathers who have this situation, like if you're not tracking every single thing you're doing, and you go to and your custodial parent takes you to court, the government don't give a fuck about what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this off camera, but a lot of people also, guys that I know, they'll be in a position where maybe they're doing overtime for, at their job, to make extra money. And whenever they go to court in order to be seen and, actually be in a position for the judge to say, this is the amount that you're going to pay monthly, they're going based upon their income with that overtime. But in a position like we're in right now, where overtime for a lot of people is non-existent, or you may even be without a job. Let's think about that.
Right.
There's people that don't have jobs right now, laid off, or, the company may have fell under at this point, and now that doesn't change the fact that they still owe child support. And the government is still going to say, you owe X amount of dollars. Now you haven't paid that X amount of dollars because you are already probably falling behind in other bills as well. But now we're not even going to give you a stimulus package because you owe in child support. So that's going to go to another household, even if you've been contributing to your child's well-being in the process of all of that. So
even that overtime, it counts for you when you're the one being put on child support. But if a custodial parent does overtime, that doesn't count for the amount of money that they make.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The child.
Oh, they tricky around here.
That's
what you think, Lo? What you think?
Well, I don't have no kids, but my little disclaimer. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, if you are not, if it can be, I feel like it should be able to be proven. Like the custodial parent should have to come with, it should have like its day in court, like anything else. Like if you're gonna take my money, give me my day in court. And I feel like maybe, that parent, the custodial parent should be able to prove like, well, he or she is not taking care of anything because I pay X, Y, Z. you know, because as you were saying, there isn't a way to prove that somebody is a deadbeat. If I have a child with Adam and I'm mad at Adam, I can just go say that he's a deadbeat and go say, because we're not together, we don't live in the same house, so I could easily just go say anything I want about him, and more than likely some of those guys don't go to court. So I feel like they do themselves an injustice, to not even fight the system. It's just not a clear way to decide who's a deadbeat, who's not. And in a real world, we can't really depend on he or she, that custodial parent to go down there and be like, oh, he's not such a deadbeat, let him have his check,
Right.
So honestly, I just feel like if you're not doing what you need to be doing, then it should go to that parent, or not even that, like, give them their check, but maybe take a portion of it, take 10% of it. 10%
I think that's a great idea.
The child, and then
to that point about court, the custodial parent, if the custodial parent puts the non-custodial parent on child support, the custodial parent does not even have to come to the courtroom.
That's crazy. I feel like they should both be required, because you need.
They do not have to come. They do not have to come at all.
So basically, they put in that they want child support, and the government kind of takes it from there. Is that what that means?
Yep.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, it's a sticky situation, and as you can see, we have people from both sides. That get your mind right, Lo. There's people on both sides that have strong opinions about how they're going to dish out this stimulus package. And like I said, a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. That's most Americans. And so when you're in the position where hours are being cut back, and things like that, it definitely puts you in a position like you're trying to figure it out and you need help just like everybody else needs help. So
right.
I like your idea, Lo, of maybe a percentage as opposed to a full check, because they also have to live as well. So that's a good conversation. So let's move on to one more hot topic that we dropped throughout the week.
Okay, so this other one said, after Idris Elba tested positive for the coronavirus days ago, and now his wife has tested positive for the virus after refusing to leave her husband's side. If you were in her position, would you take the chance of getting sick, or would you avoid exposure by any means necessary? So let's get into the comments. Saturated Nights 1 said, I'd never want to leave my husband's side, but here's another question. What if there are children involved? Does that affect your decision? I'd have to weigh that out and we make a decision together. Someone also said, they took the words right out of my mouth. Things and be arranged sometimes. I think they meant can. Who is this? Moorfield Ford? Do better. It said,
Come on, Phil.
Come on, Phil.
He said, they took the words right out of my mouth. Things, I'm going to say, he meant to say things arranged. Sometimes you have to take a temporary loss to have a long time gain, until death do us part. So I don't really know which side he was going. I guess since
he was staying with his wife.
He's staying with his wife. That's the homie. He's staying with his wife.
We can make that a little bit more clear. All right. Well, a lot of people in the comments are saying they're staying by their significant other side. They're staying there. They're gonna have that COVID-19 too. They're gonna be Corona and COVID, like the kids that were born overseas.
Well, I also seen that.
Boy, can you imagine your parent naming you COVID after this situation?
There are like memes out.
It's gonna be a lot of niggas that
right.
They parent.
Well, no,
those people were Asian. Were not us.
They were Asian, COVID and Corona.
I'm just telling you, it's gonna be a lot of niggas that's gonna name their kids something along the lines of coronavirus and COVID.
No, I ain't gonna hold you. Had this not happened and somebody named their child COVID, I feel like I can see a celebrity naming their child COVID if it wasn't surrounding the current situation. I ain't gonna hold you.
I was about to say, I don't know anybody signing up to call their kid a virus, but you never.
But
know.
I'm saying, if it
Virus?
was a virus,
What? Just wait. Wait till Thanksgiving and Christmas. Wait till Thanksgiving and Christmas when all them names come out.
There is a video on IG where a guy's in the classroom and he's like calling attendance and he's like, raise your hand if you're here. And
Yeah,
it's going to like Varissa, Covita, like he goes through all that. So
It's gonna be all of that. Watch.
Ricky Smiley, who I love as a comedian, he went on his Facebook, I believe, and actually said he had his whole family tested, his family within his household. And he was like, we're all negative, but I had us all tested.
exactly.
And
They always do that.
that's not the average person's testimony, because now, in most cases, including healthcare professionals, they will not test you unless you show severe symptoms.
They don't want to test the people in the healthcare because they know 9 times out of 10 those people are going to come back positive. And once you come back positive, now I have to quarantine you. So I'm already understaffed. So now if half of my staff comes back positive and I have to send you home, now I'm severely understaffed. So that's why they're not going to test those people, because they're hoping and wishing and praying that you're just one of the hosts and you don't actually show signs and symptoms.
I can't.
Which is really
debate that. I can't debate that. So let's go back to the original question of if it was your spouse, because a lot of people also mentioned in the comments, you know, what if you have children and two of you do have children? What if you have children in the house? How would you go about, you know, that situation if your spouse is actually testing positive for corona? What do you guys think of that?
Well, let me start off by saying, I think for Idris's wife, she probably made that decision because she is younger and she doesn't have any kids. So, you know, she basically took her vows, you know, till death do us part in sickness and in health. She took that seriously. So I think that's probably
as everybody should.
Right. But I'm saying, like, you know, a lot of people quarantining from their spouses. Like, I don't want to be near you. I'm going over here. You stay over there type shit for 14 days.
I got to get rid of you.
You said what?
I said I got to get rid of you if you talking about you don't want to be around me.
Oh, but I personally, you know, my child is older. So if my husband does have it, I'm gonna stay by my husband and, you know, make sure we're both good. If my child was smaller, of course, I probably would choose to distance myself, because we all can't be sick. Somebody's got to take care of the kid, and that's what I would do.
So how would you distance yourself? Like, are you talking about a different room? Are you talking about a whole nother household? How are you distancing yourself?
I probably would do a whole nother house somewhere else. Whether you got a Airbnb that, get you a hotel, go to a relative's house, something. I probably definitely wouldn't be in the house, especially not with a baby.
Gotcha. What you think, Lo?
Let me tell you something. My God, if I'm married and you come back positive, guess what? We're gonna make this room nice and comfortable for you. Don't come out unless you gotta pee. And if you need your food, I'm gonna be in the kitchen with you or something to eat. I'm gonna treat it. If I gotta cut out a little hole and slide it under the door, whatever I gotta do. But guess what? Because my thing is, so nobody knows how serious this thing is. I don't have kids. What if this, and it may not even be this drastic, but what if, worst case scenario, this is something that I get in my system, right? So first thing, I'm asthmatic, so underlying health condition, right? What if this is something I get in my system that jacks my whole reproductive system up, and now I can't have kids? Because nobody knows what it's going to do to you. You know what I mean? Like, Nobody knows how to get rid of it. Nobody knows if you can get rid of it. What if it's one of those things that just lingers in your body forever? I don't know. And at the end of the day, I don't want to take that chance. And yes, of course, we said our vows till death do us part. It might not kill you, but it damn sure might kill me, you know? So now, you can't even bury me. You got to give me cremated because they ain't doing no funerals. You know?
No, they're doing drive-through funerals, Lo. They're doing drive-through funerals.
Listen,
you can view the body as you drive by.
Listen, you gonna view it in the fucking urn because they cremating them bodies. Ain't no service for people who die of this disease are not having funerals. They're cremated off top. Like, ain't no discussion. Ain't no last year, hug year. No, ain't none of that. Ain't no closure. So you gonna close your ass in that room. I'm gonna cook for you. All that, whatever you need, we gonna have it delivered, dropped right off at the door, and you're gonna stay your ass in there for about 19 days. We're gonna give you the first 14, and we're gonna give you 5 after to make sure it's out of your system. No, that's not. Because I want to live to see my 30th anniversary, okay?
What you got, TJ? What you got?
My son don't live with me full time, so if it was a spouse in this current state, I'd stay with my spouse. Of course, that would probably be different if my son was with me full time. But in this current state, as I am right now, if I had a spouse, I'd stick by my spouse. From the things that I heard, which I rarely watch the news or rarely watch anything because fear kills more people than COVID, coronavirus, or whatever call it today, tomorrow. From what I've heard, hot water kills it. Hot drink kills it. Cold drinks kill it. So I stay on my hot tea. I stay on my cold drinks. I stay on everything. So I would stay with my partner if they were to get it in this current state and I had a wife.
I feel you. Well, as for me, I'm just naturally ride or die. That's just like that's how what you say, Lo?
You want to ride or die today?
I'm ride or die for those that are ride or die for me. Right?
You better hope that she ain't got somebody waiting for you to croak, okay? Because she don't feel your ass gonna be fucking be touching your ass and her ass married to the next nigga. All right, calm down.
I'm not doing this with y'all today.
Wait, I just want to take notice of what TJ said. Okay.
What I say?
What do you say?
What I say?
You said
what I say?
You want loyal or faithful today.
I said you want ride or die today.
Yeah, same shit.
I heard him say that.
Yo,
he knows better than that. He knows better. You
a shady little thing, boy.
He
is. I am.
But anyway, I'm the type of person where, as far as loyalty, that is my number one characteristic that I look for in any relationship, whether
somebody
it be
willing to die for you.
I said loyalty.
Oh, sorry, missed it. My bad.
Yeah, see, you going left. What I'm saying is, loyalty is a major factor, and I think that when it comes to my spouse, someone I'm married to, saying, "Oh, well, you got to go over here." No, we in this together. That's unless.
Hey, can y'all see my eyes? Because I feel like y'all can't see my eyes.
TJ, we can see your teeth. That's it.
I know my teeth white as but I was talking about my eyes.
Listen, unless.
Okay, my bad.
Unless.
Don't
edit. You're talking that bullshit, but we ain't listening.
Unless she is in like a Loretta position where she is asthmatic or has previous health conditions.
Hey, he's not getting married to me. Don't be trying to throw that in there.
Oh man.
My point is,
Go ahead.
I understand if you have a previous health condition. I even understand if we have children. But if neither one of those apply to you, then we ride or die. Even my brothers, like we said off camera, I've been in positions where I get scarlet fever once a year. Scarlet fever is something.
You need to stay away from your significant other if they get it. Cause you
My point is, people, all seriousness, people have died from scarlet fever. Thousands of people die from scarlet fever a year, actually. But
probably more than coronavirus. That's a side note, but go ahead.
We'll get to that because I know you have your own perspective on it. So we'll get to that. But I'm the type of person, even with my brothers, I've been in situations where I feel like I'm like on my last breath and I can't cook nothing. I can't go to the store. I can't do nothing. So the least you can do is knock on my door and say, don't touch me. You ain't even got to talk to me. I'm leaving these groceries at your door. Get the food and go on about your business.
Been there.
Right.
Been there.
TJ has been there. But I'm
Been
just
there.
saying, but I'm saying it's still a different conversation than to just say, don't talk to me. You go over here, you stay at this house, and I'm gonna go over here and get away from you and go to this house. Like that's just me.
Guess what? And when you heal, you gonna have your wife back.
I hear you.
But what if that nigga die? He gonna die alone.
Exactly.
Locked up.
Death do us part. You went apart before the death. You went apart before the death, though. Right.
Listen, till death do us part. He died, we part.
No, but you went apart before the death.
You was apart, yeah. He was apart before he died. Apart.
Lord.
You supposed to go get in the bed with him when he died.
Right.
This ain't connected. No.
Well, I feel
That's not logical.
I feel where y'all coming from. I do want to touch on a few facts, because we can have an opinion, but I do want to just address a few facts that have been going on within the last month or so. So, as of April 8th, Georgia has confirmed 9,156 cases of people who have tested positive for the coronavirus.
Jesus Christ.
Also, there have been 1,296 hospitalized individuals due to coronavirus. As of April 8th, there have been 348 deaths within Georgia.
Stop right there. What percentage of that is the people that died?
He don't got that. He don't know.
Oh, of the 9,000, I think I didn't say these numbers are all based in Georgia, not worldwide.
No, I mean Georgia.
Less than 10%.
I was asking what's the percentage of people that died?
Oh, I wasn't good at math, but
way less than 10.
Okay, we're gonna go with Korinne. Way less than 10%.
Less than 5. It's less than 5.
Okay, so
it's 3 point. It's actually 3.25.
Okay,
thank you. Less than 5.
So
less people have died from coronavirus than the flu. But continue.
Fine. So, but my question is, would you still have that perspective of, it's just 3.2% if it was actually your father or your brother or your sister or your mother? Would you still have the same mindset of, it's just 3.2%?
I would, because if you follow me at Kicks and Patron, you seen what I posted on my story today. Shameless plug. No shame.
Even though it's in the intro, but
right. Even though it's in the intro, no shame. You would see that there instructing doctors and morticians and whoever does the death certificate to
I have to adjust.
put, no matter what the person is dying from, if they have some type of coronavirus symptom, even if it's not what they died from, that to put on their death certificate coronavirus. So a lot of people are dying from the flu, are dying from heart disease, or dying from
pneumonia,
being fat, obese, but because they have a high temperature when they die, or because they were coughing when they die, they're putting down the fact that they died from coronavirus, which obviously is not true. And like I said again, fear is the biggest thing you can die from. Fear controls people. Like, everybody is staying home. Everybody is staying where they are, or being on this corona, or being on this whole shelter in place out of fear, because they're scared to go outside, or they're scared to do anything. Fear controls more people than anything. If you can scare people, you can control anybody. You know what I mean? And that's part of it. That's why I'm like, if it was anybody, I still feel the same way, no matter who it is that has quote unquote coronavirus, because they've yet to tell us how many people who died from coronavirus had pre-existing conditions. They don't put that part in there. They just put the part that they died from coronavirus, which obviously any kind of symptom, if you have shortness of breath or anything, they put that you died from coronavirus.
T, where did you find that at? What you're just talking about? I don't know if it was a video because I haven't seen your story yet. So whatever you were just talking about, where did you locate that?
The video is from, I seen it. It was on the Minneapolis news, and I follow. Like, I know some people that live in Minneapolis, and it was from the Minneapolis news. Doctor in Minneapolis that recorded that video live on the news.
Okay. So let me comment on that. Now, I actually seen your story, and I actually went and looked at the person who actually posted that story. Now, I couldn't track the video back to an actual news source. Not saying that the news source isn't legit, but I'm saying I personally couldn't track it back. Now, what is true is the page that you got that actual clip from is an actual page that does conspiracy theories. Now, I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I'm saying the history of that page is all conspiracy theory. But also, I remember you sent me a picture of someone saying about something along the same lines of that video. And that was actually Candace, I can't remember her last name, but she's actually a Trump supporter, and actually has worked with Trump on many occasions. And she basically was downplaying the total number of deaths due to coronavirus, and basically was saying it's not that serious. Now, the date was actually dated back when Trump, the president, was actually saying, oh, it's not that serious. It's a Chinese thing. It's the China virus. You know, he was going all in. He was all in, like, it's not that serious. It's not going to affect us. It's nothing. And now he backtracks and says, oh, it's serious. You know, this is a pandemic. The same person who actually said he fired a whole cabinet of people that actually were focused as a pandemic team. He fired people last year that were in the Obama administration. So it is hard to accept a conversation from someone who clearly, like the rest of us, really has no idea what's going on and is really trying to figure it out. But I feel like it's dangerous, very dangerous, for anyone to say, oh, it's not that serious, when we've never in the history of the U.S. have been in a position like this before. So
okay, you can say that, but men lie, women lie, numbers don't. That is what he said. That's an actual quote. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Lil Wayne?
Huh?
Jay-Z.
No,
Jay-Z.
that was Jay first. Lil Wayne copied it, but the number of people, any source that you find, the number of people who've died from coronavirus is less than 5%. Now, more people die from obesity, stress, the flu, suicide, a number of other things more than they died from coronavirus.
But what is that in? Is that
what?
Within a year? Is that within 2 months? Because this pandemic has happened within the last 2 months. Right. So are you saying that the same
it's not within the last 2 months? If you look back at the history and you look back at everything, this has been from 2017 that this started. If you look back and you do your research, it's been I can't think right now.
A pandemic.
It's been patented. The coronavirus was patented in, I think, 2017 or 2018. One of those two. You can look it up yourself. In one of those two, it was patented in 2017 or 2018. Bill Gates left his company to work with the people who's doing the virus, the quote unquote vaccine, and he left this year, but he's been with them since 2017, 2018. You know what I mean? If you look at all of this stuff, you research all this stuff, you'll see it. But that's why I'm like, a lot of people be like, how I'm saying stuff I'm tripping. But if you look at stuff and you research it, you'll see.
So I think the thing that they were saying is with the patent that they had that has been around for a minute, it's not the same strand. So I think that's the difference that they were saying that this. I'm just saying what is being said. I'm not saying that I believe one way or the other, but I'm just saying what's being said is that this is a different type of strand than what they have patented. And so I think what AG was saying, and like I get you, like as far as like more people die from the flu every year, you know, but at the same time, it's kind of one of those things where we've seen such a large number of deaths in such a short amount of time. And let's say what you're saying you saw or you read was true, you know, that those deaths are being fabricated as to what they're actually dying from, you know, like if it's underlying health conditions that is pushing this and it's not necessarily this COVID that they're dying from, then that's different. But let's say, to play devil's advocate, that all of these deaths, I think they said something about we had like 700, like New York had like 700 deaths in like 1 week, like that. I don't know how true that is. I saw that somewhere. But let's say that was the case. You know, it's like, can you sit down and look at, okay, I think I want to say from like January to like now, you know, the states have started to get their numbers in. You know, the first, of course, it was overseas. We're looking at China, like, oh, what they got going on over there? But now it's moving here, and it's within this short amount of time that's like 5%. So, like,
but they don't even have enough tests. They don't even have enough tests to test everybody. So how are all these people dying from coronavirus and they can't even test them?
No, it's about symptoms.
Everybody.
No, they're not testing.
So how they die from coronavirus and they can't even test them?
No. Hold on. There's a difference.
They're probably going to test you after you're already dead.
That's the point. That's the point I'm making. If they test you after you die, how can they say that you're dying from coronavirus? They even had a test. So you're saying they wasting tests on dead people versus testing live living people?
I just threw that out there.
Hold on.
That don't even make sense. Hold on. This don't even make sense. It's not logical.
Okay, hold on. So I understand what you're saying, TJ, but regardless of what we may think is a conspiracy or truth or whatever. I'm saying how I look at it. This is how I look at it. And this may be the extreme of it, but just look at it. It's like when a person who is an atheist says, how do you know if there's a heaven or a hell? And in my mind, I feel like, okay, I can't prove to you that there's a heaven, but I'd rather be a believer and believe in Jesus and be washed in the blood of Jesus with the mindset of, okay, I'm going to get it right, and I'm going to believe that I'm going to go to heaven because of that. I'd rather take a chance of doing right and being saved in order to get to heaven than to not do right and take the chance of going to hell. So I say that in regards to, I'd rather be educated as much as possible and take necessary precautions. Doesn't mean you're operating in fear, but you're operating out of wisdom in order to use precautions to say, okay, whether it's a conspiracy or whether it's all truth, I'm going to take the necessary precautions so I'm not in a position where I have to find out firsthand how deadly this virus is.
Okay. And I'm gonna take you in because you see my shirt say save, so clearly we're on the same page with that. If you believe in God and you believe Jesus died on the cross for your sins and all of that, why would you not believe that in the same sense of this coronavirus cannot touch me, this coronavirus cannot kill me because I'm saved, I believe in Jesus Christ died for my sins, and I believe even though you live in wisdom, you do things in wisdom, you still believe that you can do things in order to not be taken over by a virus that, and if you, boy,
I understand.
We'd be here for 2 hours if I kept talking, so I'm
okay, I understand, and I'm going to answer that and we can move on. I look at it because you're not the first person to say that, because that also is how a lot of church people were still going to church.
No, because I'm not with them church people, because a lot of people who go to church
Korinne wants to
are
say
not
something.
even
Korinne wants
saved.
to say something.
A lot of people who go to church are not even saved, so miss me with that.
No, well, I didn't finish my statement, but I'm gonna let Korinne go. Go ahead, Korinne.
Was he talking to me? I don't even know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
First of all, this is my thing. It has a patent, and actually, the patent occurred in like 2014. It actually was sold to the big farm in about 2017, 2018, which is the same company that, of course, Bill Gates has doings with. So anything that has a patent number, which means it's been created, I know that whether you're saved or not, God still gives you a brain to make sound decisions. You can't just sit here and say, hey, God, I trust you to cover me in this pandemic. Let me go out here with no mask, no gloves, none of that.
Yes.
It's a saying that says, this boy, he's in the ocean and he says, he's calling to God because he can't swim. There comes one boat. He says, no, I'm waiting for God. Comes another boat. He still says, hey, I'm waiting for God. Here comes God, and God says, hey, I sent you 2 boats to help you, but you didn't want to take either one of them. So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, yes, all of this is going on, and because it is a patent, we know that it has been created. But if you're not going to use your mind, and because at the end of the day, you don't know who has it, you don't know, since it has been created, you don't know if it can be tweaked. We know this is a different strain. It's just like flu. Flu every year, there's 9,000 something different strands of flu. And every year, that changes based upon whatever they want it to. So it's like, this is part of what the Ebola and SARS disease. So it has some of that in there. So it's kind of like, we know that this is created. Are you just going to sit there, no matter how Christianly you are? It's just like, you can pray and pray and pray all you want, but God still wants you to put in some work.
Right.
You want to go there. So it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to trust God, but let me go out here. All these people are coughing. We don't know how you're getting it. We don't know how long it lasts on whatever surface. We don't know any of that. But let me just trust God and he's going to save me. That's not the way that it works. And,
I agree with that.
And that
I agree with that.
I won't even expound on that, Korinne. That was exactly what I was thinking and how I feel. And it's not to discredit what TJ said, but as we know, up until now, there's been a lot of churches that have been having service in the midst of, a pandemic, and there's been people who have been getting tested and ending up testing positive, because, they're still trying to go to church and things like that. Up until now in Georgia, they've shut all those type of things down. So
and I agree with Korinne in the fact that you just can't do nothing and just believe God. Like, I'm not saying that I'm not doing nothing, because like I said, I still take my vitamins, I still do my ACV, my green tea, my hot liquids, my cold liquids. I'm not out here just going to parties, having quarantine parties, 20 people or more, you know what I'm saying? I agree with that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm still doing what needs to be done. But for me, it's not really no different than what my normal life is like, because I don't like people like that enough to be, gathering with 10 to 20, 30 people all the time. Like, so this ain't nothing like this ain't nothing different from what I do on a day-to-day basis without the quarantine. This is my normal life.
Right.
Woo. The shade with that one though.
On the note, as he said, he's not in the club.
Why did you have those glasses randomly there?
Right, should have had them just there.
Look, I'm
segueing my kitchen table, and my brother had them on earlier when we were out, so they just so happened to be.
Oh, you talking about Korinne? Sorry,
yeah.
I thought you were talking about me. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that was a segue into what TJ was saying. He said, he's not going to the club, he's not going out. But IG Live is bringing the club to us at this point.
Amen.
So we have people like DJ Nice, who started with...
It's D Nice. It's D Nice.
Oh, sorry.
It's D Nice. Good job.
D Nice. DJ D Nice. He was a rapper before he was a DJ, but okay.
Yeah.
So, D Nice started with like 200. You on 10% low? Is that what that meant?
Yeah, that's what that meant.
Okay. So, we need you to get a little charger. We got a little time left. But D Nice started with about 200,000 followers, and now he's at 2 million plus followers, because he now is doing these day parties, as we're calling them, online on IG Live.
And after dark. I'm missing to record this, just so you know.
All right. So, as we were saying with DJ D Nice, he has started the day parties, the after parties, and all that. Have y'all been tuning into anything like that?
Whenever I can, I tune in.
Say it again. TJ, what you say?
I said whenever I can, I tune in. He nice. He legit nice.
What you say, Lo?
I said whenever I can, here and there. I caught Jermaine Dupri when he was doing his solo for 404 Day. I caught who was that? T-Pain and
Lil Jon.
Yeah.
They was fire. Was fire.
Yeah. And what Korinne, did you catch any of that?
I do watch D Nice. I did do Erykah Badu is having live shows from her bedroom.
She charges now.
$1.
She what? She charges?
She charges.
So she charges $1. It's $1 to see Erykah Badu. You would pay $100 in Phillips Arena.
She ain't never on time for her real shows.
Exactly.
Talk that.
First of all, listen.
Oh, that's right. That's Lauryn Hill. I apologize. That's Lauryn Hill. That's Lauren.
Listen, anyway, she's in her fucking bedroom singing all the songs live with her backup singers. I've been watching that. She's had 2 of those. That's
how much money she is probably making. She gotta have at least 60,000.
Are they 6 feet apart though? Are the background singers 6 feet apart?
Yeah, they had on masks and everything.
But they were singing through the mask?
Yeah, they were singing through the mask.
God.
Yeah, they was like, yeah.
Think about that. If they only cost $1,
you know what I'm saying?
Like
so
I
did that. I watched D Nice. I try to watch the little battles here and there, but yes, with it.
Okay, so talking of the battles, we've seen like Timbaland versus Swiss Beats. We've seen Sean Garrett versus The Dream. We've seen Lil Jon versus T-Pain. So who would y'all like to see battle it out on IG Live? I already got my picks, but I'm gonna let y'all go. Lo, who you got?
I don't care. I don't care.
So you're not interested in the battles?
I mean, if we're just talking about like just music catalog, period, just them playing their music. Because the thing is, I don't know a lot of producers. I don't necessarily know.
We're saying music catalog, whether it's just singer versus singer, whether it's rapper versus rapper. It doesn't have to be producer versus producer.
I don't necessarily know that I care. I'm going to, yeah, no.
Well, that's fair. TJ, what you got?
I'm gonna be a hometown guy. I want to see Nelly verse. I would say somebody like
Jaquan.
I was about to say it's about to be a 2000 battle.
That's a real homer. I mean, Nelly would wipe the floor with Jaquan. That's not a battle.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fair.
I would say Nelly versus somebody like Chance the Rapper.
Oh,
because that's already a rivalry.
Chance the Rapper.
That's already a rivalry, St. Louis and Chicago. So that's something I would want to see.
But are the rappers on the same page?
Homer, y'all heard me say I'm being a homer. I would want to see something like that.
I mean, he why did Chance the Rapper though? Why Chance? I don't
because it's Chicago. Like we already got a rivalry with Chicago.
But I get the rivalry. I get that. I'm saying
I could do either. I think somebody said Flo Rida.
That was me. Flo Rida and Nelly.
Yeah, he would wipe the floor.
Maybe Flo Rida versus Nelly. Nelly was
Nelly would wipe the floor with Flo Rida. So
he would. I mean, I feel like Flo Rida stole Nelly's swag
too, but that's just only.
I feel like Flo Rida stole Nelly's swag anyway, as far as his style.
Yeah. I
mean,
that.
I don't even know any Flo Rida.
I was just being a homer. You know what I'm saying? I'm being a homer. So Nelly
I get it.
Somebody.
Chance the Rapper isn't a good battle because Chance.
I wasn't picking a good opponent. Damn, a good opponent. But I was just saying, like, I
just where they're from.
Or somebody.
I got you.
Yeah.
I said, sound it out.
Yeah, I did. You heard me?
Korinne, who you got? What you looking for?
I would like to see Tupac and Biggie, Drake versus everybody. Because Drake, man.
This nigga talking about people that's dead.
Drake versus who?
Everybody. It don't matter. It don't matter.
Yo, Drake
Drake got more slaps than the Beatles, so it ain't no opponent for him.
Let me get to Korinne.
Maybe like Erykah Badu and India Ari, maybe something like that.
I'm gonna take Jill Scott.
In that category.
Huh?
I said Jill Scott falls in that category.
Right.
I think they're still different because Jill has that. She's got that churchy voice. Erykah Badu is it's a calming type of, it's a peaceful. It's like.
Well, here's the thing. As a person that sings, Erykah Badu actually has a range that can not top, but at least equal to a Shaka Khan who has a wide soprano range.
That's true.
I've seen her do tributes for Shaka Khan and do an actual Shaka Khan song and hit those high notes. So she has that. But
and I wasn't saying she wasn't, but I'm just saying I think those are Erykah Badu's style of singing is totally different from Jill Scott's. That's what I mean.
I got you, but I just categorized them as neo soul, and I'm going with it. But who I would like to see a Usher versus Chris Brown. I would like to see that. I would like to see a Diddy, and for me, because I'm an R&B head, I just want to see R&B. I don't want to see the rap stuff, but I want to see Diddy versus Jermaine Dupri.
That's a good one.
Just their R&B. So I want you to go back to Jodeci for Diddy. I want you to go back to
112
with the 411. That's what I want to see. That I want to see Jermaine Dupri go back to Escape in their heyday. I want to see him go back to Mariah
with Escape.
Right. I want to see JD go back to Mariah Carey when Escape was doing the hook for Mariah Carey's "Always Be My Baby." Like, I want to see that kind of stuff. So that's the R&B I want to see. But
so you ain't trying to see no gospel battles. I'm just asking. Nobody.
Well, here's the thing: the number one gospel singer in the world, and I don't care what nobody say, is Yolanda Adams. So if you can't battle Yolanda Adams, I don't want to hear you talk.
Oh yeah, I feel that. But what about Kirk Franklin and Donnie McClurkin? That would be a good.
Well, I will say, when it comes to battling, nobody's going to top Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin has expanded beyond the U.S., Sweden, everything.
Nobody can top him.
Yeah, he's on the Mount Rushmore, just like I feel like Yolanda Adams is. But he has more hits than anybody in gospel.
Beatles.
Yeah. The Beatles.
Oh, he's the Drake of gospel. Okay.
The Drake of gospel. That's all right. I like that. So
he was Drake before Drake was Drake.
Right.
Right.
Drake.
All of that.
Even though he looks like Plies.
Definitely.
He definitely looks like Plies.
Ooh, I was about to. Ooh, never mind.
Uh-oh. All right, so I just want to touch on a few things before we close this episode out. A few positive things, a few things that people may not be aware of. There are food banks available within Georgia. Two to name just a few is the Atlanta Community Food Bank and the Fountain of Hope. Once again, that's the Atlanta Community Food Bank and the Fountain of Hope. Also, you can text Find Food, that's FIND FOOD, to 888-976-2232. And that will give you the 3 closest food distribution centers in your local area. A lot of people aren't aware of that. Also, I want to point out that the last time I checked, McDonald's does offer free breakfast and free lunch for children that are under the ages of 12 years old, Monday through Friday. So for those that, need a helping hand, which I know I've been there. I can't speak for my co-host, but I've been there where I was a little kid, and being in a position where, a helping hand went a long way. So I did want to point those things out. Also, I do want to point out that the CDC does provide instructions on how to monitor symptoms and steps in order to quarantine yourself throughout a process if you do test positive for the coronavirus. Once again, that's the CDC. Also, you can probably find that on the state of Georgia website. They'll also forward you, and a lot of hospitals such as Emory and Grady will also give you directions as to how to navigate through the process of the coronavirus. So I would like to allow this to be the last time that we really have to talk about the coronavirus. I pray that it's the last time we have to talk about it. But of course, we don't know what future days are ahead of us. But any last thoughts or opinions on this episode? The floor is open to my wonderful co-host.
No, sir.
No?
No.
Y'all good?
Questions, go to the questions.
All right. We got 1 through 12. Whatever you choose is cool with me. And we'll go from there. TJ, you're not a woman, so we're not going to let you go first. Korinne or Lo, y'all choose.
I'm gonna go with 7.
7. All right. Can y'all see it?
No,
Yep.
read it.
Yes. No, I was just saying the 7. The number 7. She said read it. Okay. All right. What would you say is your most toxic characteristic within a relationship and why?
Oh God, this is okay. I think my most toxic behavior. I really wouldn't say it's toxic, but I just don't require a lot of texting, a lot of calling. I don't need to be up under me 24/7. Because if you're up under me, that means you ain't got no job, you probably ain't got no money, and you know I ain't dealing with that. And you know, I don't require, you know, a lot of neediness that some men feel like they like. So, or maybe it's just that I don't really give a. So that's probably my most toxic trait, not giving a. I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
Why?
Hold on now, unless you special now, because say quarantine baby is a little different. You heard? Shout out to
So,
quarantine baby.
okay. So why do you not give a F in other situations, but quarantine bae is the exception?
First of all, I mean, if we're just like dealing, I don't really care. Like, you know, it's different if I see it going somewhere or it's, you know, it could be something or
You don't see
you
it
know,
going nowhere with quarantine, babe?
She said he's the exception.
You meet all of the qualifications like quarantine babe, then if you meet all those qualifications, it's on and popping. Like, what's up, daddy? You know what I'm saying?
Did quarantine bae
Is he there? Is he waiting for you to get done with this recording?
No. What was you saying, AG?
I said, did quarantine bae get tested before he was all up in your house?
First of all, let me tell you something. Of course he did.
Now
He got tested. He got tested for coronavirus, or he got STD tested.
I'm talking about
STD.
coronavirus.
Oh, y'all talking about coronavirus? No,
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Me and Quarantine Bae pretty much eat the same. So he is taking his vitamins like me. He's taking his sea moss like me. He's not out here eating McDonald's. He got a good immune system. So
I ain't heard nobody say McDonald's caused coronavirus, but we're going to move on.
Yeah, moving on. What's up, Lo? What number you got, Lo?
Lo, who you got?
What number you got?
I'm gonna pick number 1.
1.
who the two?
My still finger.
Because 2 is not a winner and 3 nobody remembers.
Okay.
Can y'all
He
see
got
that?
all the fucking rap lyrics tonight.
He got them. All right.
Hey.
Would
St.
you
Louis
rather
stuff.
be loved or feared, and why? Ooh.
I would rather be loved, because I love love. It's so nice. That's it.
But with
And
love,
I feel like when people fear you, I don't ever want anybody to be afraid of me, because I feel like people will try to harm you if they're afraid of you to get rid of you. I don't know. That's how I feel. But I feel like if people love you and respect you, you're always good no matter where you go.
but does love?
Come on, elaborate on the questions now.
I'm just asking. Does
What?
love garner actual respect?
I just said love and respect. I didn't say love equals respect. I said love and respect. I added respect in there.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna change my number to 2.
2.
Cause you the first loser. That's why.
Yeah.
Cause never mind. Yeah, amen.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Explain your first sexual experience. I couldn't get that out.
Wow.
Oh, that should be fucking good.
So it was after my senior prom.
You lost your virginity at 18? 17?
Yeah, I was already 18.
I didn't know that. That's something.
I went to my prom date's house. Well, prior to that, I had rented a car. Prior to that, we stopped on the street before her house was on and sucked my dick a little bit. And stopped that.
Look, we're not next to each other, but
stopped that, and then went.
You can't do it, Korinne.
Right, went to her actual house. Her parents were home. Went to the basement.
They were. Hold up. They were home.
They were there.
Oh.
Went to the basement of the house, and I lasted about 35 seconds.
That's fair, brother. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair, brother.
And then, man, it was that quick. And then
you did use protection though, right?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Always. Then, yeah, that was that. Went to the basement, looked around the basement for a minute. Her parents wasn't tripping. Her parents didn't come down there. Got it in the basement. I lasted about 35 seconds.
In and out, brother. In and out.
That was it. Like the restaurant in California. In and out.
Did you ever hit it again, T?
Oh, a bunch of times.
Oh, okay.
Man,
you lasted longer
out after that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, your first time, you gotta hit it a few times after that.
Man,
so
I started wearing that out after that. That was.
Nah, I ain't say all that.
I mean, she asked me, so I'm just telling you. She asked me.
That man said you was wearing it out.
That's how that. You said what?
You said you was wearing it out, huh? Okay.
After that, I ain't gonna tell all those stories, but yeah, definitely.
So you weren't the 35-second man after that.
Man, listen,
brother.
I ain't been a 35-second man since then. You can make all the faces you want. You'll never know.
Look,
I'm glad. I don't want to know.
Good.
Hey, TJ, that was the key. If it was 35 seconds, you'll never know.
Man. Oh,
that's a gym.
Shout out to her though, man. She was legit. That was my dog.
That's what's up. All right, so I'm gonna let the.
Say that again. Definitely not. You said a. No, absolutely not.
I'm gonna let the ladies pick my number. So
one of the ladies pick his number.
One of the ladies pick.
Number 5.
Well, Lo didn't say nothing, so we're gonna go with 5.
I don't care.
Back on 20%. Okay. Let me try to get this 5 to y'all. Can y'all see it?
What you saying?
Yeah, you got it. 5.
Open them up.
Due to the current Me Too movement, celebrities are canceled. Do you still listen to R. Kelly, or have you canceled him too? So,
I know you do.
I personally, I don't go out of my way to listen to R. Kelly, but if I hear R. Kelly, I'm not opposed to listening to R. Kelly. Now, I'm the type of person that can separate the art from the person. Everybody isn't able to do that, and I understand it. And maybe, or no, not even probably, I would feel differently if it was someone connected to me. So I understand that dynamic of, that duality of, you'll feel different if it was someone else who was actually connected to you versus someone who you don't know that's been affected by his actions. But for me, I listen to R. Kelly if it comes up, but I don't go out of my way to listen to him. And that could be also because, like, I don't know how relevant he is today versus if he was to be putting out music. And I mean, because all his music is fire. So, like, that I don't think we can debate, like, his genius, who he is, the music that he puts out. But I'm the type of person, I still watch A Different World. I never been a Cosby fan, if I'm being honest, but I watch A Different World. And I know Bill Cosby, owned and ran and produced A Different World, but I still watch it. I do think we got to be careful about canceling people until they've been actually, sentenced. And Cosby he's been sentenced and he's in jail. But even then, when you cancel a whole show like they did at first with Cosby, there are other people that eat off of syndication with Cosby. And I don't think we take that into consideration. There's actors who get residuals from syndication and producers and writers who get residuals from that. So it's not just Cosby that is affected. There's other people connected to it that are affected too. But neither here nor there. That is going to wrap up for our King to Queen talk on today. We appreciate y'all joining in with us. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to our Facebook, IG, and YouTube. We need our subscribers to go up on YouTube, and we can only do that with your support. So please make sure, if you have not already, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate everything you do. For those of you that are being affected, which is all of us, but for those of you that are being affected by the coronavirus financially, whether it be for those of you that have lost loved ones in the process, we are sending our prayers out to you. We are sending our love out to you, and we are here for you, and we're here to support you. There are, once again, phone contacts that you can contact, websites that you can go to, food banks that you can go to, churches like Newburgh that are doing things out in the community in order to help people in this time of need. Our prayers are with you. Continue to keep your head up, and we will see you on the next episode of King to Queen Talk. We are out.
I've been looking for someone that's gonna hold a king down. I've been looking for someone that's gonna hold a king crown. I've been looking for somebody that would make me feel complete. I've been looking all my life, I wonder where could she be. I've been looking for someone that's gonna hold a king down. I've been looking for someone that's gonna hold a king crown. I've been looking for somebody that would make me feel complete. I've been looking all my life, I wonder where could she be. I've been looking for someone that's gonna hold a king down. I've been looking for someone that's gonna